What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Wow, it's one of those crazy times of the year. There is a shortage, and that means there's going to be inflation. See, it's called supply and demand. When there's a lot of a product, you got to sell it cheap to go ahead and get rid of it. You just do, because you don't want to get left holding the bag and so on. That's why they have army surplus stores, because they got too much stuff. When there's a lack of stuff like there is now, then of course the price goes up. Right now, unemployment's low. So people, because you need people, you've got to pay them more. You got to pay more because there's a lack of employees there. And that's true about pretty much everything right now. Used cars are going through the roof because they can't get all the parts for the new cars. It's the price of doing business. In fact, it's crazy because the Inventables that I got, the Inventables machine, they had a problem with getting all the parts that they needed. And so they ended up basically having to sell me the bigger one for a reduced price because they couldn't get out the small one. So they ended up taking a loss on that one. So we hear about Kirk freaking Cousins, because here's the problem. There are a lack of quarterbacks. Teams are scrambling right now. This is why all of a sudden there's a wildfire for Carson Wentz. Right now, the Steelers know Big Ben's gone. We don't have anybody else. Haskins not the answer. We might have to take a flyer on Carson Wentz, right? You're sitting there thinking, the Browns, man, we always draft quarterbacks in the first round, but even us, we know that there's no quarterbacks worthy in the first round right now. So we got to find something. So they're thinking about Carson Wentz, right? And so there's only a couple of places. Now you hear about Deshaun Watson. He said he would be interested in going to Minnesota, or I can't remember the other team he said. It's no longer Miami, I can tell you that. But Minnesota was one of the places. And then if you're a team like Carolina who, said, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try Sam Darnold, maybe we can fix him, they realized that's not an option. But you know what's crazy? They're still on the hook for $18 million for Sam Darnold. $18 million. They cut him, they still are on the hook for $18 million. I bring that $18 million up because with Dak's restructure of his contract, last year he was $17 million. This year he's $18 million. So the exact same number that Panthers are going to have to pay to get rid of Sam Darnold is all we're paying Dak. Just pointing that out. But here's what's crazy. So, the Panthers, knowing that Sam Darnold isn't an option, that Cam Newton's a free agent, they are worried about finding a quarterback. They call Minnesota to say, hey, Minnesota, how about that Kirk Cousins guy? They basically hang up on it and say, no, we're going to roll with Kirk. I want you to understand something. For all those that keep talking about Dak Prescott's $160 million contract, Kirk Cousins' cap hit this year is $45 million. $35 million of it is the salary that they signed him to. They signed him to that 3-year original deal, 3 years, $89 million, which was $28 million a year. They followed it up with a 2-year extension that was at $33 million. They ended up restructuring his contract to get extra cap relief, so that $10 million is added to it. So the Minnesota Vikings are going to pay $45 million to Kirk Cousins unless they restructure his deal. Carolina's got $18 million that's going to Sam Darnold, and they were willing to trade for Kirk Cousins in his contract. Carson Wentz, if the Colts cut him or trade him, will take a $15 million cap hit. This is on top of the $35 million that the Eagles took on Carson Wentz. That's $50 million in dead money. That's got to be an NFL record. So maybe Carson Wentz will make the Hall of Fame with the amount of dead money that he's left on teams. And knowing that he has failed now in 2 organizations, teams are still willing to try and give him a chance because they know there's nothing else out there. Washington is interested in him if he gets cut. They don't want to trade for him. And the thing that really blows my mind, I don't understand why, you hear the teams are trying to trade, and if they can't trade, they're going to cut. Well, if I know you're going to get rid of it, why am I going to go ahead and trade you and give you something for it? I'll just wait till you cut him and try and see if I can get him for nothing. I mean, that would be the smart thing. If my game's good, hell, you'll want to come running to my team. So, inflation is truly happening with quarterbacks. You're seeing the prices that are out here. And if I'm Jimmy G right now, shit, I'm hoping that San Francisco gets rid of me, because right now, the number's going to be flowing for quarterbacks, bum-ass quarterbacks, because there ain't none. There ain't none in the draft, and not a lot of really good options. And so, even with Deshaun Watson, now you're thinking, shit, is 3 number ones too much for a guy that's proven? Or are you just saying, I just need to get by till I can get another chance at a franchise quarterback in the draft? I don't know. But I'm glad we got Dak, because I'd hate to be in that mess right now that teams are scrambling. Well, should we get Jameis Winston? Because we hear Jameis Winston might go to Pittsburgh, or Carson Wentz. And after having all the years of Big Ben, I know the last 2 have not been great. But you look at that and say, well, shit, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, is that what it's come to? Yeah, that's what it's come to, y'all. Anyway, tomorrow's going to be on the road day for me. I've got to take care of some rental properties. I got to put in a paperwork for my building permit, because I'm trying to get working on the red brick house again. And shit, I think I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna go to bed. Whew. There's always so much to do. No matter how hard you work, there's always still more that you gotta do. What I wouldn't do for a few more hours a day. I've got so much stuff that I've got to pack in. I don't know if my life's going to be long enough to do it. But, oh, I never turned on the lights over here. Jeez, it's really dark out here. Well, I appreciate you guys listening to me. And I hope you all having a great night. And remember, tell somebody you love them tonight, because you might not get the chance to again. Peace.